Hello everyone, Ace here, and today, well, we're going to have to talk about something a little bit more on the sober side. In this case, regarding the incident in Christchurch, New Zealand. Of course, before going any further, I have to mention that my heart does indeed go out to the victims as well as their families. And furthermore, it is my wish that the doctors there in New Zealand are able to save as many lives as possible. However, as many of you may well know, I typically try to avoid topics like this that don't typically have much at all to do with video games, or the gaming community in general. And so now some of you may be wondering why I've decided to actually make this video, and that's because unfortunately, video game culture is actually being dragged into this mess. For those of you who do not know, one of the perpetrators of this heinous terrorist attack decided to record the whole thing using a GoPro camera. And near the very beginning of the video, the perpetrator in question says to the camera, quote, "Remember lads, subscribe to PewDiePie." This is of course a reference to the very popular YouTuber and gamer PewDiePie. Although considering his fame, an introduction is not really necessary at this point. It is, however, important to point out that PewDiePie himself has already condemned the attacks, calling them sickening, and for good reason. Unfortunately, that has very clearly not been quite enough to prevent the usual suspects of verified Twitter users and journalists from using this terrorist attack to smear his good name. In one example, a verified Twitter user by the name of Todd decided to attack PewDiePie by suggesting that he was actually a Nazi, and that the terrorist attack itself is something that he was indirectly responsible for. In another case, verified Twitter user Nathan Bernard decided to bring up the fact that PewDiePie had hosted Ben Shapiro on his channel before, suggesting that it is therefore proof that he is somehow Islamophobic as well. In reality, the video in question was simply a meme review in which Ben Shapiro was a guest who was simply reviewing memes made about him. Which of course means that the video has absolutely nothing to do about politics of any sort. But of course, as we all know, it would be far too much to ask of a verified Twitter user to actually do some genuine research before providing us with their claims and supposed evidence. However, moving on from the horrendously low standards set by Twitter users these days, let's talk about the mainstream media. Because, as I've already mentioned, some of the more opportunistic members of the journalist community have decided to use this tragedy in their attempts to further smear PewDiePie's good name. The worst example of this is a Pastemagazine article written by Garrett Martin, in which he even goes so far as to say that PewDiePie's actions somehow brought this upon himself. To quote his own article, "Again, we're not saying PewDiePie inspired this Islamophobic mass murder. PewDiePie's own actions, though, have made it possible for people who might be white supremacists or neo-Nazis to view him as a sympathizer." Now, in order to keep this video as short as possible, I will not be going any further on that particular article, even though it is actually quite disturbing that someone would think it's a good idea to write something like this. However, for those of you who are curious about it and want to see more, feel free to have a look in the links in the description below. Hopefully with my next video I'll have actually something much better to discuss for you all. In any case, I hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.